Please welcome this week's special guest, Roger. So, Alice, what is Roger to you?
This is Roger. He painted my living room the wrong colour twice.
So Alice is hapless handyman. Les, how do you know Roger?
This is Roger, and he once gave me a lift to Family Fortunes on the top of his bouncy castle.
So, Les's bouncy buddy. And Lee, what is your relationship with Roger?
This is Roger. I once made him spend 20 minutes that he didn't have looking for a dog that didn't exist.
David's team, where would you like to begin?
So, Alice.
Yes.
He painted your living room the wrong colour twice. So what was the first colour?
The first colour was, I believe, called Railings. It's a kind of navy blue from a very posh paint brand.
And what was the colour that you wanted?
I wanted a dusty kind of plaster pink. What?
That is quite different.
It's quite different, yeah.
And the second go?
I got a pink that wasn't a dusty plaster pink.
You like a bit of pink, don't you?
I love a bit of pink, yeah.
And then what happened?
You're wearing pink. He's not being creepy. That's why.
Come with having a Lancastrian accent, everything sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? You love a bit of pink, don't you?
To be fair to Roger, the first time it was your fault, but the second time it was my fault.
How are you painting pink over very, very dark blue?
I'm glad you asked that. I don't know, but thank goodness you can't see it through anymore, because I would have been livid.
That's a great response. Well, I'm glad you asked. Because I don't know.
I'm so glad you've given me the opportunity to tell you I have no idea. It is much harder to paint light over dark.
Well, this was the thing, and that's why I was so... I mean, I was pretty livid.
What colour were you?
I was... yeah, it was sort of a kind of rosé. And then I feel like I kind of kept a lid on it, but only because Roger said he'd sort it out and was very apologetic.
You should have taken the lid off. You'd have seen what he was painting.
If it turns out that he is a painter and decorator, I'm just glad that he's turned up. I'd also like to say it's the longest I've ever heard a painter and decorator not talking.
This is very interesting, Lee, that you're speculating so much about the profession of the person who you know to have been someone you spoke to about a dog.
Now, Alice,
Yes.
you were wanting a pink. How was there miscommunication where you're asking for a pink and he gives you railings?
Sure. When he came round to do the quote, he came... I've got very high ceilings, don't want to show off, so he did his quote, quite expensive, because, you know, period property. And so worked it out, wrote it in his little book. Then I went away, then he did his stuff. So that's how I think it was just next to another customer's decision.
Right. So you first called him out on it when you saw the railings up on the wall?
Yeah, so that's when he was very apologetic and said, I'll sort it as soon as I can.
So what went wrong the second time?
So the second time, I sent a link to the new colour.
Yes.
But I sent a link to a colour that I'd been considering.
Yes.
When you're swatching it and everything.
Yes.
So that's when it's
So
my
that was
fault.
your error.
So
That was my error.
So did you have to pay for the second
Well, now
one?
I just live with that colour.
Oh, you just left it up?
Well, because we've been doing this for about 3 years now, haven't we? It's taken forever.
You've got really high ceilings.
All right, who would you like to quiz next?
So, Les, the lift on the bouncy castle, how did that come about?
Roger worked on Family Fortunes. You know, people always say to me, where do you get those families? Well, Roger was one of the guys that used to get the families.
You make it sound like he went round shopping centres with a net.
He auditioned them.
Right.
So, on this morning, we're staying in the hotel that's near the studios in Nottingham, and I'm worried because the cab hasn't arrived to take us to the studio, because I like to get there early for the production meeting.
On Family Fortunes?
Family Fortunes, this is, yeah.
OK. Is there a lot of preparation?
Rob, you're saying it like you host a show about the Hadron Collider. This is easier than Family Fortunes.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
He's outraged by
I mean,
that.
I would describe this as any idiot could do it.
I think I've proven that. So, you've got to get to work.
Yeah, I've got to get to the studios,
Yes.
and the cab hasn't arrived. So Roger said, I'll tell you what, we'll go in the van.
Look at his face.
he was working on the show.
Yes.
But in his spare time, he used to provide coconut shies and coconut shies and skittle alleys and also bouncy castles for fetes and for kids' parties.
So you're late for Family Fortunes.
Yeah.
Les is the man who finds the families, but he also has a bouncy castle
No,
company.
I'm Les. That's Roger.
Roger.
As I was saying, any idiot could host this show. Any idiot.
I'm proving it's not as easy as it looks.
Do you know what? If he'd have got here earlier and learned the names.
And he stays at the same hotel.
He's at the hotel, and so are two of the writers and the warm-up man. We're all there.
With his van, with his bouncy castles.
With his van, with his bouncy castles.
OK.
And we all get in the van. The warm-up man, Bobby, and I sat in the back, and Bobby just sat on the skittle alley. And I thought, well, the bouncy castle looks like the most comfortable place, so I sat on the bouncy castle.
Can I just ask, did you take your shoes and socks off?
It wasn't fully up, it was deflated. So we get in the van, and when we get to the studio, the security man doesn't come out first, so Roger gets his bugle out. And goes...
Why has he got a bugle?
Wait, well, Roger is a musician as well as having this leisure cabinet. So he plays the bugle, and the security guy comes out and says, "What have you got?" And Roger says, "I've got two comedy writers and a warm-up man and a game show host in the back." And I actually said, "If it's up there, I'll give you the money myself."
Oh, come on!
All right. Now, what about Lee?
Yes, so
remind
Lee,
us,
remind
Lee,
us.
what is it you're claiming?
I once made Roger spend 20 minutes that he didn't have looking for a dog that didn't exist
What was he late for?
for work.
And what does he do?
work as?
Bouncy castles. We've already been through this.
He's got another job as well as the bugles, the bouncy castles, and the taxi service to Family Fortunes.
And the painting.
And the musician.
He's absolutely recession-proof, isn't he?
He also works at a lockkeeper's cottage.
A lockkeeper's cottage.
He's a lockkeeper.
Now, what about this little dog?
Yes.
What little dog?
The little...
Oh, the dog, yes. I was having a walk, as is my right. I mean,
And
who's
you're
going to stop me?
It's an open prison.
Yeah.
You do what you want.
So now I'm having a walk in my local park, and I was caught short. So I popped into an enclosed area of trees and bushes.
Yeah.
And I did what I needed to do.
Number 2?
I can't remember which tree it was. I saw a little dog appear. Now, I thought to myself, I know what happens here. Somebody's going to come in after that dog. And sure enough, a man started coming in after the dog. So the dog's now looking at me weeing against the tree, quite shocked to look, as if to say,
What?
How are you doing that? With both feet on the ground. And I can see Roger coming in. I quickly zip up.
While you're weeing?
No, I was able to stop my wee because
you're stopping
there are
mid-wee.
people that can stop mid-flow. Some people can do it. I have that kind of control.
I can do it, but I don't like to.
Luckily, I was coming to the tail end, so I zipped up quickly, and he's now come in, and he sees me as I'm sort of appearing from around the tree. So what do? I panic, and I shout, "Sheba! Sheba!" And I start pretending I'm looking for a dog.
I see.
So you then wasted 20 minutes of Roger's time, as we know. But listen, we can all stop mid-flow. Yeah. It's fine. For 20 minutes...
Who said I stopped for 20 minutes?
Continue.
What now? He said, "Oh, well, I'll help you look." And he goes off and looks in another area with trees and stuff to see if the dog's over there. I take the opportunity to finish the wee. I'm not going to lie. His dog stays there looking at me as if to go, "You liar." After 20 minutes of him seeing me getting upset, but I wasn't upset, I was acting, I eventually had a plan, because I thought, I can't go from "Sheba! Sheba!" to... I said, I'm going to get going. Very hard to make that join, isn't it?
I'm going to get another dog.
You know what I mean? So eventually, when he was far enough away, I went, "Sheba! Sheba, is that my phone? Hello? No way! She hasn't. Has she?
Yeah.
Oh, That's incredible.
Her body had been found by the police.
She'd found her way home.
All right. We need an answer. So, David's team. Is Roger Alice's hapless handyman, Les's bouncy buddy, or Lee's dog detective?
I think Lee.
You think Lee?
No, I'm kidding. Was it inflated, the bouncy castle, Les?
No, I said that before. It kind of deflated, but it was still quite comfortable.
You see, that
you
I
would
don't
pack it
believe.
away. You would
I think
pack
it's
it away.
either deflated fully
Yeah.
or it's fully... I don't think it'll be in a sort of mid-state shoved in the van next to the coconut shy.
And also, when they were talking about painting and decorating, Roger looked very cross.
He did look...
And he does look like he has his cup of tea, milk, 3 sugars. And that's classic builder stuff.
I think he didn't take kindly to that stereotyping. We think Alice, don't we? I think we're going to go with Alice.
You think it's Alice? Roger, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Roger, and I took Les to Family Fortunes, where he would sit on the bouncy castle.
Yes, Roger is Les's bouncy buddy. Thank you very much, Roger.
Thank you.